Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back. Let's start with our 500 millibar chart as usual. It's about mid-upper levels in the atmosphere, and as we head through the day today, we're going to remain in this fairly stable northwest pattern here. Although as we head into tonight, we do see a trough associated with a low-pressure system up in Canada, kind of skirt down. For the most part, the impacts from this are expected to stay off to our north. However, we could get a little bit of a glancing blow, but the main story for tonight into Christmas is actually going to be with a localized low-pressure system that you can't really see on this map that is going to have an associated warm front sticking off to the east from in around the Illinois area. As we head through Christmas Day, though, we largely just see a ridge pattern across much of the United States, which is associated with an area of high pressure, and much of the central United States is going to see some warmer temperatures. Unfortunately, we're not going to cash in on that too much, but we will have some temperatures that are slightly warmer than we have had in the last few days. As we head into the end of the period, it's kind of hard to make out, but there is a little small shortwave trough kind of developing back in here. And if we go lower, not quite to the surface, but lower into the atmosphere, first you do see that first low pressure system here building to our north, and see some of that does stretch down just a little bit towards our area. But you especially see that second system a lot better as you go lower in the atmosphere. And that could bring some problems for Friday, and we will look into that a bit more later. So now let's take a zoomed in view for our temperature forecast. Again, this is at the surface now. And for our highs today, we may be around the mid-30s. Yes, that looks about right. And as we head through the night tonight and into Christmas morning, the temperatures are actually going to remain pretty stable around the low 30s. So it's not going to get too much colder overnight. But as we head through, and through much of Christmas Day, it is going to get ever so slightly colder in the morning. Maybe below 30 briefly. But for much of Christmas, the temperature is going to be remaining in the low 30s. As we head into the evening, though, as the sun sets, and especially as we head in overnight, the temperatures are expected to drop below 30. So let's take a look at that precipitation now. As we head through today, it looks pretty clear. As we head into tonight, though, and into Christmas, we do see some rain down right along the Michigan, Indiana, and Michigan, Ohio border. And some of it does stretch into Michigan a little bit earlier, and this could end up being a little bit more north. It's not entirely certain. And this is around the midnight time frame. So if you're going out tonight around midnight, just be aware it could be a little bit rainy, and depending on where exactly the temperature rests, some of this could be freezing rain too. So just be a little bit careful if you're out and about tonight. As we head through the day tomorrow, Christmas Day, most of Christmas is expected to be clear. As we head over into the evening and into the overnight hours, though, this right here is midnight. So we head into that time frame, we do see some potential problems arise as that second low pressure system moves in. Here we see a winter system developing. The blue is snow, the purplish pink color is a wintry mix, and then this red is freezing rain. And this freezing rain is expected to move down towards our area, and we are expecting some ice accumulations Friday morning, Friday afternoon. So if you are expecting to travel on Friday, the day after Christmas, really at any point in the day, even in the very early morning hours like 2-3 a.m., please do be very careful. The official forecast has us at just above about 1/10 of an inch of ice, which for some of you that may not sound like a lot, but if school were in session this week, which of course it's not because Christmas, but if it were, you would probably be looking forward to a ice-induced snow day. Don't just take the official forecast from me, though. Here it is. Oh, whoopsies. Here it is in front of your eyes from the National Weather Service themselves. They are expecting, again, just above 1/10 of an inch for us in the Lansing area, with some higher amounts across portions of the state and some lower as well. It looks like the highest amount is expected to be around Flint, just under 2/10 of an inch. That is the official forecast, though, and that doesn't mean we can get more, or it doesn't mean we can't get more, and it doesn't mean we can't get less. In fact, I do believe there is potential that we get more. Now I'm going to show you a few model runs from the GFS. Now keep in mind this is just one single model, and so it has strengths and weaknesses. And this is looking at the total freezing rain, not necessarily at the total ice accumulation. There are other factors that can make the difference between the two. If the ground itself is a bit warmer, then you might not get as much ice accumulating. Much like snow, it might find a harder time really initially sticking. So these accumulations you are going to see here, or the numbers you're going to see here, are going to be higher than the actual accumulations we will likely be seeing. And this is a trend loop, so this is looking at the same exact time, and we're just going forward to see different runs and what they expected. This first run that was initialized a few days ago really didn't show anything for us. The next one shows a pretty large swath of some high totals, or a more narrow swath, of some high totals. The next run shoves that farther south, but then it does kind of stabilize around our area. More recent runs have trended towards lower amounts. You see here it's showing around a little over 1/3 to 1/2 an inch here, and that has been pretty consistent between about 1/3 and 1/2 inch in this area. But again, this is just one model, and it's looking at the total amount that's falling, not accumulating. So this is going to be higher than of course, the accumulations that we see, which is why, despite the fact that you're seeing, 1/3 to 1/2 an inch on here, that the Weather Service is only expecting around 1/10 of an inch. Can't just look at one model and take it for gospel, though. Let's look at another one. This one is the GBPS. It is a Canadian model, and it shares a pretty similar story. Early on, it really was not sold on any situation for us, but in the more recent runs, it has started to agree on a storm system impacting our area. And this one is actually showing some higher numbers than the GFS. Now let's take a look at another official graphic from the Weather Service. This one is, I wish I could blow this up a bit larger so to make it easier to see, but it seems like I can't. But it's just showing where they think you could see at least 1/10 of an inch of ice, or at least the probability of seeing at least 1/10 of an inch of ice. Of course, here in Lansing area, we're at 49%, which is basically 50. Go ahead, just call that 50-50. Some areas around Ann Arbor are a little bit higher, around 60. And Saginaw is a little bit lower, around 38-40. Grand Rapids, same story as Saginaw. And it's a bit lower around the Kalamazoo area at around 20% for them. If you want to know my personal opinion, I think that somewhere in this region we are going to see, it could be more to the northwest, more to the southeast, or more in the middle where we are. I think there is going to be a localized band somewhere in here that could see accumulations closer to 1/4 of an inch. That is just my opinion, though. And I think that if you're going to base any action on something, you should base your action on the official forecast. Now, regardless of how much we do get, again, you should be preparing for some pretty rough travel conditions at any point on Friday, and potentially some localized power outages where those higher ice accumulations do come to fruition. Now, finally, to end this video off, let's take a look at wind, mainly because wind is going to influence exactly, or could influence exactly how severe the ice is. If you have a lot of wind with heavy ice, then that could be a problem. But let's also just look at wind for today, Christmas Day as well, because we can't exactly go far out enough for the ice event. For the day today, though, winds look pretty calm. At most, we'll see sustained winds around 10 miles per hour. And the same for tonight. Looks very much like the same story tonight. Christmas Day, I think at worst you see winds maybe getting up to 15 miles per hour, but more realistically, they are going to be around that 10-mile-an-hour mark. But it does look like winds may increase as we head into that ice event, though still not horrible. The maximum sustained winds should be around 15 to 20 miles per hour at worst. But what do the gusts look like? Expected wind gusts today and into tonight, it definitely looks like the afternoon is where it's going to be. The afternoon period is where it looks like it's going to be the worst, around 15 or so miles per hour. Then overnight and into tomorrow morning, looks pretty clear, but as we head into much of the Christmas Day, we may see some isolated gusts up to 20 miles per hour. And then again, as that system moves through Friday, not max, mean, there we go. We could again see some higher gusts, maybe up to 30 miles per hour. So wind may be something to keep an eye on for our ice event. That's pretty much all I have for today, and I hope to see you tomorrow with hopefully a better idea as to how exactly our ice event is going to unfold.